Okay, guys, if you are here, you're ready for reading, which means that you have watched your phonics lesson, and then you've also gotten to make your cute little book, or you have another little notebook or something that you're going to be a word collector in. So if you have not done those two things yet, move back, pause me, come back to me, and do those things first. So I've got my book ready to go. I am going to be a word collector today as I'm reading you the next part of Ivan. So come along. Actually, I have two books. I don't know which one I'm going to use. Who knows? Here we go. So if you remember, Ivan lovers, last time we read, Bob and Ivan were watching a movie, and at the end of the movie there were some commercials on, and one of the commercials was for the zoo, and that's where we left them, right? Okay. So, imagining. It's different now when I paint. I am not painting what I see in front of me, a banana, an apple. I'm painting what I see in my head, things that don't exist, at least not yet. And I'm going to tell you, I already wrote that word down because that word, and if you're in my crew, you know this, and probably if you're in Miss Gina's crew, you know this too. When a kiddo comes to me and says, Miss Dana, I can't do that, or I don't know how to do that, or I'm not good enough for that, I always say, you can't do that yet. Because yet is a really powerful word, right? It maybe not yet, and maybe it's not in our comfort zone yet. However, that doesn't mean it can't move to our comfort zone, right? Okay, so that's why I put yet in there. Next chapter. Not tag. I'm going to read this whole little chapter. It's just one page, and then there's a word on there I want to add to my book. Not tag. I pull out not tag's stuffing. Carefully, I fill her with my paintings, hiding them so Mac won't sell them. She's large, bigger than Bob, but I still have to crumple a few of them. Bob tries to settle on her for a nap. You've killed her, he complains. I had to, I say. I miss your stomach, Bob admits. It's so spacious. Spacious means there's a lot of room. When Julia arrives, she notices that I've used up my paints and my paper. Wow, Julia shakes her head. You are one serious artist, Ivan. Okay, so the word that I want in my words book for that one is crumple. Crumple. Can you hear it? That's why Bob does not like sleeping on not tag right now, because he gets on there and it goes, wouldn't be a very good place to take a little nap, right? So crumple is the word I am adding. Now, does your book have to be the same as my book? Absolutely not. If you hear a word that I say and you would like to add it to your book, pause the video, add it to your book, okay? At one point, I'm going to ask you to take a picture of some pages in your book and show it to me on Seesaw. So I'm gonna want to see these. So keep them nearby. Okay. Next chapter. See if we find any words we'd like to collect. One more thing. My finger painting has sold for $40 with a frame. Mac is happy. He brings me a huge pile of paper and big buckets of paint. Get to work, he says. I paint for Mac during the day and for Ruby at night. I nap when I can. There's a picture of our friend Ivan with his paper. But my nighttime picture isn't quite right. It's big, that's for sure. When I place all the pieces on the floor of my cage side by side, the cement is almost completely covered, but something is still missing. Bob says I'm crazy. There's Ruby, he says, pointing with his nose. There's the zoo. There are the other elephants. What's wrong with it? It needs one more thing, I say. Bob groans. You're being a temperamental artist. What could be missing? Temperamental means you're kind of emotional and you have a little bit of a bad attitude and you're kind of grumpy. Temperamental. Ooh, I think I'm going to add that word into my book. Maybe you would like to add it too. If I move down here, you think you can see me right, but I'm going to be writing upside down. But that's okay. I'll turn it around when we get, no, you can't see there. Can you see here? Yes. Temp. Ooh, I'm using the things I know about breaking words apart. Men. Ooh, that's a really long word. It went over to the other side of my book. That's okay. Temperamental. And that just means I'm kind of got a little bit of an attitude. I'm going to do it my way, and nobody can tell me any other things I'm going to do it in another way. We use that word with artists a lot because they have a vision in their head of how they want things to look. And if it doesn't look exactly what they're seeing in their head, then they get a little grumpy about it. I bet that's never happened to any of you, right? Bob groans. I'm just going to read that sentence again. You're being a temperamental artist. What could be missing? I stare at the huge expanse of colors and shapes. I don't know how to explain to Bob that it isn't done yet. I'll just have to wait, I say. Something will come to me, and then I'll know my picture, my painting is finally ready. The 7 o'clock show. During the last show of the day, Ruby seems tired. When she stumbles, Mac reaches for the claw stick. I tense, waiting for her to strike back. Ruby doesn't even flinch. She just keeps plodding along, and after a while, Snickers jumps on her back. Ooh, plodding. That's a good one. I want to add that one to my word, but plodding. Plodding means you're walking kind of like a-dump-a-dump, but you're not going very fast. You're just kind of going slow, and you're making it really deliberate. So you're using your feet, and they're kind of heavier than they really are. Think about a time that maybe your mom and dad asked you to go do something that you didn't really want to do, and you knew you had to do it, so you were going to go do it, but you kind of walked slowly and kind of heavily. Plodding. That's plodding. I'm adding that word to my list. Those are 2 D's in the middle. I got them kind of close. Plodding, plodding along. Another little word from my word collector book. Okay, next chapter. 12 is the name of this chapter. I lie in my cage with Bob on my stomach. We are watching Julia do her homework. She doesn't seem to be enjoying it. I can tell because she's sighing more than usual. Again, for the 100th time, or maybe the 1000th, I wonder what's missing from my painting. And for the 100th time, or maybe the 1000th, I don't have an answer. Dad, Julia says as George passes by with a mop, can I ask you a question? May I, George corrects. Ask away. Julia glances down at the piece of paper. What's the difference between the words spelled, I've got to have my whiteboard for this one. The difference between the word spelled Principal and the one spelled Principle. Homonyms. These are homonyms. Let me write them both so you can see them. Principle. So they're the same all the way through until you get to the very end, right? The difference is there and there. Okay, the top one is Miss Deborah. Miss Deborah is our principal, okay? She is the head of the school, right? Here's how you can always remember how to spell that one. The word at the end is P-A-L. Pal is a synonym for my friend. You're my pal, you're my buddy. Miss Deborah, although her job is to be in charge of the school, she wants to know all of you and be your pal, okay? So Principal, that's the teacher, the principal, the person in charge of the school. Principal down here, that means how I live my life. Okay, I'm going to read it to you in the book, and they're going to define it for us too, and you'll have a better idea of what that looks like. Are those words you'd like to put in your word collector book? Maybe. The first one is the head of the school, like Miss Garcia. This is Julia's principal. The second one is a belief that helps you know what is right and what is wrong. It's a little bit like integrity, right? What's right and what is wrong. He smiles. For example, it's against my principles to do my daughter's homework for her. Julia groans. If I'm going to be an artist when I grow up, why do I need to know how to spell? With a laugh, George heads off. Poor Julia, I think. Gorillas get by just fine without learning how to spell. All those endless letters, those sticks and circles and zigzags, filling up books and magazines, billboards and candy wrappers. Words. Humans love words. Yes, we do. I leap up. Bob goes flying straight in my pool. I think Ivan just had an idea. A word! You know how I feel about wet feet, Bob yells. He scrambles out of the water, shaking each foot in dismay. I look out my window at the billboard. I can still hear Mac's voice in my head. Come to the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, home of the one and only Mighty Ivan. The one and only Ivan, Mighty Silverback. I count to 12, and then I count again just to be sure. I count to 12, and then I count again just to be sure. I count to 12, and I count again just to be sure. I think he's counting the words. Let me see if I can get to under the words so you can see them. Come, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, I don't know what he's counting. I count to 12, and then I count again. Words. Ooh, there was a word I want to add that I just read. Poor Julia, I think gorillas get by just fine without learning how to spell. All those endless letters, those sticks and circles and zigzags. That's such a fun word. Zigzag. Zigzag. Zigzag just means kind of a back and forth kind of thing, right? Zigzag. I'm going to add that, and I'll show it to you. So if you would like to add it too, zigzag. There it is, Z-I-G, Z-A-G. Make sure you're making those Z's in the right way. A Z is kind of a zigzag. The letter Z is kind of a zigzag all by itself, because that's what a ziggy-zag looks like, right? Kind of up and down and over. That's kind of a zigzag line. Cool. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a little excited about my words today. Okay. H. Huh. I lay out 16 pieces of poster board, 4 down and 4 across. A perfect square. What are you up to? Bob demands. I'm guessing it doesn't involve sleep. It has to do with the billboard. That sign's a monstrosity. It's huge and ugly. That's what Bob is saying. Particularly since I'm not featured. I grab my bucket of red paint. You're not on the billboard because you're not in the show, I point out. Technically, I don't even live here, Bob says with a sniff. I am homeless by choice. I know. I'm just saying. I study the billboard, and then I make 2 fat lines like broom handles, and another fat line connects them. I stand back. What do you think? Looks like a letter, doesn't it, guys? Well, what is it? No, wait, let me guess. A ladder. Not a ladder. I say a letter. At least I think that's what they're called. I have to make 3 more. Bob cuddles up next to Knot Tag. Why? He asks. Because then I'll have a word, a very important word. I'm going to stop right there because I want you all to make a prediction, okay? I want you to go over to Seesaw, make a prediction about what the word is going to be. Now, here's the clues. It starts with an H. It has 3 more letters after that. So whatever word it is going to have a total of 4 letters starting with the letter H. Will you go over to Seesaw and make a prediction? And then tomorrow I'll reread this part of the chapter and you get to see if your prediction was right. Okay? All right. Don't forget, keep your little word collector book nearby because you're going to need it. I'm going to tuck mine right into my book, so I will have it. And I can't wait to see what you think that word is going to be. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.